This episode is brought to you by the shows of the You Run Podcast Network, all available at yourunpodcast.com. Whether it's true crime or film reviews, even TV series deep dives, the You Run Podcast Network has you covered. So go and check out yourunpodcast.com today. We start with a quote, and I found a quote from Dennis Rader that I don't know if he's trying to be funny or if he was being serious. And I've seen him actually say the quote as well, and I still don't know. And the quote is, "I actually think I may be possessed by demons. Nah, I was dropped on my head as a child."
He's not trying to be funny, Scott. He legit. I think that's his brand of humor, but it's like, it's psychotic. It's not funny.
Yeah, it's really not. Well, time for BTK Part 2.
Heather's raging, old news she screams. The new word chases are all that she dreams. We dive into cases both weird and grim, from Zodiac ciphers to Tiger King's whim. We're You Run Podcast, the oddball pair. We're pretty damn good to be fair. You Run Podcast, through true crime. Heather's ranting, Scott's in denial. From Manson's madness to Tupac's case, we're serving up crime with a comical grace. We're digging up dirt with a weekend and nod. You Run Podcast, approved by God. Probably not.
Hello and welcome to the You Run Podcast True Crime. My name's Scott.
And I'm Heather.
And we are an interactive true crime podcast where you get to choose the cases that we review. And I've got a little bit of a secret that I'm going to share with all of you. So if you're listening to this on podcast platform in February, which is when this episode is coming out, you can go to YouTube, because on YouTube this episode come out very quietly in December.
Like a Christmas special.
Yeah, so on YouTube we're far ahead of where we actually are on podcast release. And I'm not advertising that. I'm just doing it to see how much traction true crime naturally picks up on YouTube. So I'm just giving you all a little heads up. Like, if you really like this show and you want to get ahead, like, go check out YouTube, because there's loads there.
There you go.
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with the show, you can send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can record us a voicemail on X or Instagram by going to DMs, holding down the microphone button and speaking. We are a true crime podcast. We talk about, well, crime and murder and lots of horrible things. So if that's your thing, you are in the right place. This is part 2 of a previous case. So if you joined us last time, we were talking about everything that led Dennis Rader to kill, his actual crimes. And we rounded things off in 1991 when he just decided to stop. And
take a break. It's bothering Scott to this day. And this shit happened in 91. And he's still like, why did this fool take a break?
Honestly, it's got so under my skin. And as we go through this episode, I'm going to continuously go, but why? It's I don't know why, but it's really annoyed me.
But I did explain, when you guys listened to episode 1 of the 2-part episode, I did kind of give an explanation as to why he would have taken a break. And for you true crime nerds out there, you'll get it, because you'll say, oh, I totally get what Heather's saying. Like, I see, especially when you're really into true crime. But when you try to be too rational, like Mr. Scott over here, it's going to drive you fucking bonkers, because you're going to say, why? I don't get it. But you're also not a serial killer. So that's probably why you don't get it.
That's probably why I don't. On this episode, we're going to continue straight on from where we left on, and we're going to follow Dennis and the investigation right through from 91 until literally today. Because there's been some news very, very recently about this case that we're going to discuss. We're going to double down on what we said last time. This episode contains discussion on sexual assault, murder, torture, a whole host of other things that may make you feel uncomfortable. If you find those things upsetting, just proceed with caution. Like, this is it's a very detailed episode, and it's some of the things we talk about is not very nice.
Yes.
Let's go back to 1991. So Dennis killed his final victim, Dolores Davis, who was 62, by strangling her with her own pantyhose. And what happened after this? Well, Dennis went back to just being Dennis Rader, no longer BTK. He went to work, he attended family barbecues, he spoke at his local church, and
Yeah.
just lived a normal life. Now, he's revealed in interviews that during this time he had the urge to kill, and he
Mhm.
suppressed that urge by keeping himself busy. And that to
It's
me is insane. Like, I really want to kill someone today. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to light the barbecue and have some friends round. Like,
Yeah,
how
or
does
I'm
that
gonna
even?
I'm gonna rage clean my home, which is probably if I were a serial killer, which is what I would do, is I would rage clean because that's what I do when I get stressed. Even being pregnant, even though they're like, take it easy, I'm like, you don't know my life. I fucking wipe shit up in the cracks and corners that a rat can't see, okay? But that's how I de-stress. Ask anybody that knows. I have to. But I've never felt the urge to kill.
No,
So,
no,
yeah.
it's just such a weird thing. And then in
Yeah.
2004, Dennis done something that would ultimately lead to his capture and conviction.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
cannot wrap my head around at what point he got up one morning and went, I got a really good idea today. I'm going to
Yeah.
completely fuck myself. Because that's what he done. And I,
He
ca- like, I
do it.
died.
We're over here like back and forth pausing and sighing, but like
He's
literally he did it on purpose. Like he's not like he's fucking with them in the hopes, I think, in the hopes that he would get caught. I
possibly.
don't want to
I
get caught.
No, and like this did get him caught. So Dennis began a string of letters, 11 letters he sent in total, and they came out of nowhere. So this is 13 years after his last murder,
Yeah.
and I don't know if he got bored or if he just wanted to fuck with the police for a bit, or he
Yeah.
genuinely wanted to get caught. But he started sending these letters. So in March
Mhm.
'04, he sent a letter to the Wichita Eagle, and he
Yeah.
used the name Bill Thomas Kilman, BTK. In
BTK.
the letter, it is. Like in the letter, he claimed responsibility for the murder of Vicky Wergel, and at the time, police weren't convinced that that was a crime of BTK's. That they couldn't
Mhm.
quite tie that in, um, and he knew that. So he thought he
Yeah.
would substantiate his claim by including photographs of the crime scene and a photocopy of her driving license, which he stole when he murdered her.
Mhm.
Um, this took what was a cold case. So BTK had been filed as a cold case and had been there for several years. And all of a
Yes.
sudden, this went from no one was looking into it, no one was really interested. That was over a decade ago, to this is the hottest case and everybody wants a piece of it. That
Mhm.
every agency you
Yeah.
could possibly think of was like, right, letters are resurfacing, send me a copy of the case file. And
Mhm.
technology had advanced as well. So like emails were now like everything moved at rapid pace. And I don't think
You
Dennis
could
was ready.
find everything. You were able to be traced, so to
Yeah,
speak, instead of when you killed someone in the 70s when some of these killings happened, they wouldn't have had the technology to be. I don't even know. I'm not a 100%, and I should know this. I got to do better on fingerprinting. And even fingerprinting has actually been proven to not be very substantial, even in today's technology.
yeah.
Fingerprinting is a little wonky, but I know back then they relied on fingerprinting, that type of stuff to get you. But I guess it was good in the 70s. I'm not 100%. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
they had it, but it was all done manually. And you think now jump forward to 2004,
Okay, so
everything is digital, it's faster. It's
yes,
much
yes, yes, yes.
quicker.
Okay. Yeah.
So one of the things they had now is they had DNA from Vicky Wergel. They took
Mhm.
DNA from under her fingernails, and they didn't quite know what to do with it because they weren't really sure where to look. And when this letter come in, the police knee-jerk response was just to mass test
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of men in the area. 1,300 DNA samples were taken and tested against the DNA under the
Yeah.
fingernails. This was later destroyed as part of a court order because the court went, you can't just take DNA and keep it. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, these people are all innocent. You need to get rid of that. So it was all destroyed.
Yeah.
While this was going on, Dennis sent another letter in May of 2004, and he sent it to his old favourite TV station, KEKE. And he put a word puzzle in there. He put some fake IDs that he used in there. And then in June, he strapped a package to a stop sign. Now, when this package was taken down and opened, it had graphic drawings of the murders of the Otero family. And it was labelled, "The Sexual Thrill Is My Bill." And also in this package was a chapter list for the proposed book for the BTK story written by Dennis Rader.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck?
He
Like,
wanted
this-
it to be famous. He wanted to be famous. We know this already. Some serial killers don't kill. They kill for the thrill of the kill. They kill for only sexual gratification. They kill for revenge. It can be passion. It could be all these other things. But like BTK was he was like a fucking can of mixed nuts of like why he killed. And he wanted the fame. He wanted the notoriety. Like, I think he wanted it more hardcore than any serial killers I've really read about in a long time that didn't want to get purposefully caught. He was trying to get caught. He knew his old ass was going to get caught.
I think he must have done. I mean, like, one of the things he done, so he made a package in a cereal box, and he put that into the back of somebody's truck at a grocery store, and he got spotted by the guy, and the guy discarded the package, which police later found. But he got caught, or he didn't get caught, but his vehicle got caught on CCTV. Now, this is where it gets a bit weird, because then he started not getting what he wanted from the press. He started sending letters directly to the police department. And in one of those letters, he asked them, like, look, I want to put everything on a floppy disk. Like, there's a lot for me to put down in words. For our younger listeners or viewers, a floppy disk is a USB stick from the 2000s.
It's like that big though, guys. It literally is like, I don't know how to describe it necessarily. It literally is like a little square and it stuck it in the computer. It's not a little USB thing. It's like, and it's fucking floppy. Like, he's not lying. Like, legit, it's real flimsy. And you would stick it in and, oh my gosh. Oh, I remember those. We had a plethora of them.
But he asked if he'd done this, would the police be able to trace him? And he wanted the police to reply, and they did in the local newspaper. And they said, there is absolutely no way we could track you from this. So Dennis Rader went, brilliant. So he put all of the information of all of his crimes on a floppy disk, and he posted it to police. So on February 16th, 2005, this disc landed on the police department's desk, and the details of the crimes were there, but the police weren't interested in that. They wanted to dig into what's called metadata, which is like the behind the scenes stuff of the floppy disk, where it picks up other information from your computer. And they found a document on there, or part of a document. And the document was titled Christ Lutheran Church and was last modified by Dennis. It took police about 3 minutes and an internet search to find that Dennis was the president of the Lutheran Church. Now, this was not enough for them to get an arrest warrant. Like, this is circumstantial at best. So they then done a drive-by of his house. And they looked at his car. And his car matched the car that they caught on CCTV, put in a parcel from BTK in the back of someone's truck. And they were like, we're pretty sure it's him. But I'm going to give props to the police on this case. Like, when they closed in on him, they were very careful. Like, everything they'd done was meticulous. Like, we've done so many cases where the police are like bumbling idiots. And the police in this are like, look, we know it's him. We know for a fact it's him, but we will not arrest him until there is no way out of it for him.
Exactly.
which is rare. Like, when was the last time we done a case where we went, do you know what? The police done a really good job here.
Yeah, I mean, they always, it'll be like they do a decent job in the end when possibly the killer has already committed more crimes and killed more victims. And it's almost like silly and satire in a way because it's like these cops are supposed to be finding the criminal, but yet it seems like you said, they're bumbling around and they don't know, like, the fuck? You have 57 clues. Like, and I get it. Some of these things that we discussed, obviously, a lot of these serial killings take place in 70s, and which is the height of like, if you wanted to, again, I'll repeat this. If you had wanted to be a serial killer, that was the time to shine to do it because you pretty much weren't going to get caught, which is why most of them don't get caught until 30 years later or something crazy. And some do get caught. But yeah, it seems very negligent that these police would be. I guess you can get a little bit of an excuse. Not really like in the 70s, but like current times.
Yeah. You just can't. And
y'all know better.
Yeah, and these police were on it, like really on it. So the police knew they didn't have enough to go directly for Dennis. So they filed a request for a warrant to get DNA from a pap smear test taken by Dennis's daughter. And they were given that warrant, and they tested the DNA, and they tested it against Vicky's fingernails. Now, the DNA matched, but it matched on a familial level. So they knew it wasn't Vicky, but it's someone she was blood related to, which leaves her mum, her brother, or her dad. They took it that was enough. Like, we know it's one of the family. We're pretty sure it's not the mum. We're quietly confident it's not the brother. We're going to go and arrest Dennis. So on the 25th of February, he was arrested driving home. Police pulled him over. He stopped willingly. He was very respectful to police. A police officer asked him if he knew why he was going downtown, to which he replied with a chuckle, "Oh, I have my suspicions why."
Yeah, because he was waiting on this. Again, it's the whole cat and mouse thing. Like, he was waiting on it. It was like, I'm sure it gave him some kind of sick gratification. I mean, even though you got caught, right? You got caught. Like, you're going to fucking prison. Maybe worse. For his case, not worse, really. He just went to fucking prison. But it was like this sick thing. Like, he was like, yeah, I got caught. Like, who would be that matter of fact? Unless they, like, got some get off in some sick way of being like, I'm going to get caught. He didn't even try to lie.
No, he didn't. And, like, I'm going to praise these police again. So the second he was in custody, the second he was in handcuffs, Wichita police, Kansas Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and ATF agents raided his home, seized his vehicle and his computer. They had teams that also raided the church and the local library, finding incriminating evidence at all three locations.
Yeah.
And police didn't give anything to the press. They released a statement that said, the bottom line is BTK is arrested. So basically, fuck off and mind your own business. And
I think that was smart.
Yeah.
I think it was smart because if a little bit of info gets leaked, then that's what we call rumors start circulating. That's okay. So then you have all these people reported on stuff on half-ass facts, half-ass truths. They don't know for sure what's going on. And then you get a slew of mess. And maybe these police officers and FBI and the investigators were like, no, man, we've been like looking for this dude forever. We're not just going to sit here and be like, oh, here you go.
Yeah, and like a prime example of like things being leaked and then becoming a rumor mill is Diddy. Like, they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil, they found 793 dildos. Like, all of that stuff is leaked in the press now. Like,
okay, I have to just cut you off here because I feel like one dildo is just as effective as 793. I am not an expert in that field because I'm just not. Mind your business, people. But literally, why do you need almost 800 dildos? Where the fuck do you store them?
That's the thing. See, this is my biggest question. That
It's
all
so
the stuff they found.
outlandish.
Yeah, like, where do you put 1,000 bottles of baby oil? That's not like a bottle of baby oil in a cupboard. That's like an entire
I mean, they're
room.
like
Just
this big a piece, Scott. They're fucking huge most of the time.
are we
As
talking about
having
the baby
children,
oil?
I've had baby oil. Well,
Oh,
the
I thought
dildo is probably
I
like that.
I wasn't sure which one we were talking about,
I
but
mean, I think that if he has that many dildos, maybe they're in multi sizes. Okay, we have micros all the way to like King Kong. I don't know. They make dildos in all sizes, for in all shapes, in all colors. Uh, they make them in
they
anything that you want, right?
I'm going to say something now that's incredibly
So
crass, but I saw a dildo advertised the other day. You've seen Scary Movie, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen the whole
Yeah, yeah.
all of them.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there is a Scary Movie themed dildo, which
I
is
don't want to.
the strong hand, and
Oh
it's
my
like
god.
the bit that's the penis looks like the strong hand, and then
Yes.
the bit that tickles the other bit is like the strong hand but opened. And I couldn't stop laughing when I saw it. It blew
Where
my
I would
mind.
like to know where you saw this because
It was
I have never seen an advertisement for a dildo.
That was on Twitter. That was an advert on Twitter.
Oh, I
I'll
don't get
send
on the
it
tweets.
over to you. Yeah, I'll
I don't
send
get
you a
on the
picture.
tweets, honey. No, X, whatever I don't look. I have it. I know that I probably still get tagged and stuff, but that shit's in my like do not use little thing on my iPhone because I'm just like I don't use it because I could never really. I felt like if you're not a celebrity, you can't really. Nobody gives a fuck about your tweets anyway. Literally, they don't. And I that's crazy. Elon, what you doing over there? He be like he got hit using his strong hand. Something.
Yeah, I'll find a picture and I'll send it over to you so you
Send
can
it
have a
to
look.
me and I will check because like I said, I'm still logged in. Like I still have the app. I just don't actively use it. So I
Okay.
can get to it though.
Um, so yeah, that's the difference. Like everything being leaked, like it is with Diddy. In this case, the police were like, "No, you get nothing. We've caught him. That's all you need to know for now." Um,
Exactly.
Dennis confessed to 10 murders in total, which again
Mhm.
is something that the police and the district attorney kept out of the press. Like when it went to court, the press didn't know what the police knew or even how Dennis Rader
Yeah.
was going to plead. Um, and I think it's really clever because the police controlled the narrative. They didn't let it
Mhm.
go out to the media and the media go, oh, well,
Yeah,
we
they didn't
think
go
it might be
crazy with
this.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, on March 1st, bail was set at $10 million. I'm amazed they offered to bail him.
I think they do that anyway, Scott, because there was been I'm pretty sure people get like $100 million bail. And nobody's gonna I mean, like, okay, unless you are a
Rich.
celebrity. Yeah, you're not gonna nobody was gonna they could have done 1 million and he wasn't gonna get out. I don't think anybody was gonna bail him out as we'll get into soon because I mean like no, the wife was like,
Yeah, we'll
I
talk
don't
about
blame
the.
her.
No, I don't either. So Dennis pleaded guilty, and he done this through his court-appointed legal team. He didn't speak at
Mhm.
this hearing. However, 27th of June, when the trial began, he changed his plea to guilty and took the
Yeah.
opportunity to talk to the court, where he discussed all of his crimes in immense detail for many, many, many hours. He made absolutely no apologies while talking through his crimes. And there are times that he seemed like he was enjoying reliving them. It was almost like he enjoyed telling the
Yeah,
stories of
he
what
did.
he'd done.
That's the gratification out of it as well. It's because it's like not only did he get caught to be notorious, I wouldn't even say really notorious, like or infamous. I mean,
Yeah,
people know who he is. Everybody just about, even if you don't like true crime or don't know much about it, you probably heard about BTK. And getting to tell his story, as sick and twisted as it may seem to us who are pretty normal, it was a gratification because he's getting to relive these murders. If you think about that too, it's a gratification within oneself. He's getting to relive the feeling of what it felt like to do what he did. That's why he
yeah.
talked why else would you talk about it for hours?
No, you just wouldn't. And
Hours. Can you imagine? Hours talking about, like, let's just say you talk about one murder, and you talk about it for 4 hours. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to, like, these are readily available. You can go and watch his entire spiel, which I have, and it's not
So
very
much on
nice.
him. Yeah.
By 18th of August, trial was over, and he was sentenced to a minimum of 175 years in prison. There was no death penalty in Kansas at the time, so this was the maximum sentence the judge could impose. The judge even passed comments saying, if I could incarcerate you for longer, I would.
Yeah. Even though, like in reality, like us mere mortals will not live for 200 years. But no, I get it. It's more of a just like he wasn't getting out of jail anyways.
No. When he was sentenced, or when anyone's sentenced, they get given the chance to make a final statement. And Dennis done this, and he made a 30-minute apology to the families of the victims. And it is the most unsincere, unfeeling, most horrific thing ever. Like, when you've got kids, same as I have, when one of your kids like hurts one of the other ones and you make them say sorry.
It's very just like monotone. It's just like, oh, I'm sorry. But like, are you actually fucking sorry? Yeah, I know what you mean. He didn't care. It was a performance. It's like, let me do an apology, because I've seen him do the apology.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to hear it, but watch his face, because he's literally straight face like this. I'm sorry that I killed everybody. Like, I can't do his face, but like, he literally does not give any fucks about anything that he did.
No, he doesn't. We're parents. We've all done the thing where you say sorry to your brother, and they say sorry. You go, no, say sorry like you mean it. Like, we've all done that. Like
you mean it.
Yeah, mean it. Don't just say
they don't mean that shit. But at the same time, also, they're kids, and kids be acting up. Mine don't fight, luckily. So, thank God.
My youngest two do, like, over anything. Like, they will sit
because they're so close in age, right? They're only a couple years apart.
Yeah, 2 years apart. So they'll sit next to each other on the sofa, and they'll be watching a movie, for example, to get together. And then for no reason at all, one of them will just like nudge the other one with the elbow. And then they'll start nudging each other. And it goes from nudging each other to like pushing each other. And it's like, let's stop that. They're like, we're only playing. It's like, yeah, but I know where this is going. Like, stop playing.
Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get pissed off.
Yeah. I'm going to tell someone off, and then I'm the villain.
And then you're going to have a fucking little snitch on your head. One of them's going to be tattletelling, and then you're like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, mine have never. Now, my two oldest, my two boys, they're not biologically related. They are step siblings, but ever since they've been around each other, they're a year apart in age, like just a little over a year apart. They're very chill. They're very like, they talk to each other. They don't really hang out a lot, because they like different things. So they kind of do their own thing within the home. But like, they get along. They never fight. So I guess I got lucky in that aspect. And now when I have this new baby, we're going to see if Campbell does not. He's going to knock the lights out.
I'm hoping it's a phase and it passes.
It will. They'll love each other later on. Just right now, they're too close in age, and they're young, 6 and 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's that every kid has it. I call it the bratty stage. Even though they're not brats, it's like that, I'm going to poke you kind of shit. They'll get out of it. Just drink you some drinks and pretend it's not happening.
Yeah, that's the plan. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to tell you all about the other victim that I am convinced Dennis Rader killed.
I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50.
And the reasons why I don't think he'll ever tell that he did. But as we've done lots of talk about Diddy, I've got the perfect little soundbite to take us into our ad break. And here it is.
This portion of the podcast brought to you by Fleshlight. Fleshlight, go fuck yourself.
When you finish this episode, head over to yourunpodcast.com and check out some of our other network members. There's Voices from the Mausoleum, your home for horror on YouTube. Everything from found footage to remakes to conspiracy theories. They even have a horror coffee morning. This is the place for you, so check out Voices from the Mausoleum. Also available on the You Run Podcast Network, the horror-friendly podcast hosted by Katie and Chantel. This hilarious horror movie review show covers horror movies from the past, the present, and even the future when they cover movies that are only at film festivals. This is a show you must check out. These and many other shows all available at yourunpodcast.com, so head to our website today. Please go and check out yourunpodcast.com. There are so many great shows on there. I don't mean to sound like I'm blowing smoke up our own arse, but the You Run Podcast Network is the absolute titties. Like, we've got everything you could possibly want, from true crime through to paranormal investigation, horror podcasts, movie podcasts, film, like music podcast. Like, everything is on there. Also on there is our shop. And we have a new piece of merchandise that I'm going to share with you today, which is to commemorate Mark having a baby, tail end of last year. And it is that.
Daddy vibes. I also heard that Mark is like, what was it on your last episode, or the last episode that I listened to? Because I'm always behind, it's like, y'all are the best horror movie review podcasts ever. So, like, fuck everybody else, basically.
That's kind of what he said. And I did have
I know what he said.
Yeah.
He done got salty as fuck after giving birth, delivering that baby. He thinks he's the man.
Yeah. And then I had lots of members of the network reach out and go, "You're the best." I was like, well, I didn't say it. So,
and I'm not saying it. I'm copycatting what Mark said. I'm just I'm trying to throw his name in the dirt. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. Love Mark. But anyways, I did think that was pretty funny. I was like, man, did he have too many to drink, or is he just he's got ballsier? But guys, nobody's saying anybody's the best. Honestly, it's just all subjective and what you like to listen to. If you don't like true crime, like Scott said, you have so many other options to listen to. A little sprinkle of everything, just horrors, true crime. You said paranormal. I know we have. What was the movie review? The Girl and the Gay. They do all genres. So there you go. It's everything.
Well, we've got literally everything, and our shop, which we need you to buy stuff from, so we can afford to keep doing this show, because it's expensive.
I know, Nick. I want that yellow shirt. You send me that yellow shirt.
Okay.
Is it going to cost 50 quid?
No, it's not going to cost you anything. I'll sort you one out. I need to sort Mark out some merch as well.
I want the yellow one specifically because with my belly is getting much bigger. We're finally starting to pop out. This girl's popping out. I need to wear the bright ass yellow shirt, and I have a sweatshirt on today. If you can believe it's still like 89 degrees here, but it's like not that hot. So I need it.
Okay.
I'll have to remind you. Send it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll sort that out. We will sort it out, because I need to sort it out for Mark as well, and for me. Yeah. I haven't got any merch either.
Yes.
Let's get into the murder that I'm convinced that he did, and then you can say why you're 50-50 on it, because you're not convinced.
And I mean, I'm not totally.
So Cynthia Kinley was last seen on the 23rd of June, 1976 in a laundromat in Oklahoma. She was 16, and witnesses say around 9:30 in the morning, she left the laundromat in a beige Plymouth Belvedere, being picked up by a man. Now, in 2023, so this is recent, Dennis Rader was identified as the prime suspect in this disappearance. So he was in the area with the Boy Scouts, because he was the head of the Boy Scouts at the time. And he's written letters and in his diaries and things that he's always fantasized about kidnapping a girl from a laundromat. Now, he also identified a lot of things about his life and his murders in letters and in drawings and things like that. And there is a day that he refers to. He uses a phrase to describe an entire day, and it's PJ Bad Wash Day. And it's around the time that this girl disappeared. And when he's questioned on this, he either can't remember doing it or he just refuses to answer. And this is the guy that brags about everything. Did you kill this person? Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you kill this person? Yes, I did. And I'd done this and I'd done that. And did I tell you how I got in? He's that guy. But when he's asked about this case in particular, he's like, no, I don't remember. No, nothing at all. Now, I think he kidnapped the girl, and I'm convinced that he has no intention to confess to it. So when he was originally questioned about this was way back before he became prime suspect. He's been questioned about it before.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have confessed because Oklahoma had the death penalty, and this would mean a retrial. Now he's older. I don't think he's so
Mhm.
much worried about the death penalty. I think he's worried about
No.
the 70s, and he doesn't want to go through another trial. And I think they're the only reasons. I think in 10 years after he's died, it will come out that he probably did kill this girl.
I mean, I get it that it all seems circumstantial. It all seems like it lines up, and it's what a coincidence that he wrote out the wash day and that the girl went missing from the laundromat. My thing that makes me a tad skeptical, and I am not a Dennis Rader BTK apologist by any means, is the fact that he was with the Boy Scouts. And if you really, remember back on his crimes, he was alone and he was not like, it doesn't make as much sense, and I'm saying as much sense to me that he would kind of be doing that. And what would you do? Kind of sneak off? Like, to me, it seems a little out of his characteristic of the way he killed. And so
Yeah.
I find it like, did he hear about it? And he is saying that to be like, still cat and mouse in you motherfuckers all this time. This is the thing. He can hear about the stuff. He could know that, like, maybe not know the details of what happened to her, but he can know. And what if it's just a fuck you? I'm in prison
Yeah.
or just whatever. I just don't know for sure, because I think a lot of what happens is that, let's say you get this serial killer, you convict them. They've killed 24 people, 10 people, 11 people, however many. And then all of a sudden you get that one case that you hear about, and it's like, here we go. We think that this person did it. And it's usually because it's in the time frame and they're sort of like, and you know what? I think it's a little easier to pin it on him to have some type of closure. And her
Yeah.
last name, I think it was Kenny, not Kenley,
Oh,
without the
okay.
L.
Sorry.
Um,
Yeah, it was. I just read it wrong. I wrote it right, read it
no,
wrong.
it's fine. But anyways, so with that being said, that's why I say I'm split on it. I'm not totally not okay. I'm not convinced that I'm not saying like, oh, there's no way he did it. But I mean, it seems a little out of character. And so why would he have that one particular killing, right? Why would he kill
Yeah.
her when he's with the Boy Scouts? He's preoccupied. He's not by himself. I don't
Yeah.
know for sure. It's a little, we
Yeah.
may find out one day if he did do it.
Yeah.
I hope that we do find out.
It's definitely not cut and dry, but I'm
No.
swaying to I think he did, and I think he doesn't want to
Yeah.
confess because he doesn't want a retrial. But yeah,
But I mean,
there's
he's like 84 years old or something now, right?
yeah,
Something like that. He's in his 80s. I mean, it's like,
he's
okay,
old.
if you do a retrial, Scott, he's going to die of like a natural death in jail,
Yeah.
regardless. And I don't even know if they're, honestly, are they going to really go through the hoopla of going through another trial? If they could just get him to, if they could get him to confess, also, that seems very out of his character to not want to confess to it. That's another
Yeah.
reason why I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. It's in the air for me. I mean, it's terrible
Look,
tragedy either way, but I don't know.
let us know what you think. You call into the show. Send us an email.
Yeah.
Um, the investigation to Dennis Rader is still very much active in many departments, and definitely in the true crime community.
Mhm.
There are several more unsolved cases that are potentially linked to him. Now,
Oh yeah.
I've looked through a lot of these, and a lot of these ones that are linked to him happen in these down times that we called them, where he takes
Yeah,
long
where
break.
he's not killing. Yes.
Yes, so these killings are kind of like all pop up in those down periods, which kind of works for me because that makes me understand him a bit more. These are cases that didn't get caught. But I'll be honest, I've looked
Mhm.
through all of the ones that are potential. I don't think there's enough in there that's compelling enough to make me think that it is him. I wouldn't be surprised if there were more victims, but the ones that are currently on deck, I'm like, like they're more tenuous than the one I've just given you an example of. So much so that I didn't feel they warranted being part of this episode because I don't think they're linked enough to even tie him into them.
No, and I think that at the time that this happened and at the time of the crimes and everything, again, there were so many killings going on that would be unsolved and unnamed, and you would not know who done it. And it could have been a random coincidence, which I know everybody, oh, coincidence, but it could happen. And
Yeah,
also we have to look into the details of how these people would have been murdered. He specifically killed people the same way. He
yeah,
didn't just like go up to someone down the street and slit their throat and then walk off. No, he had a very specific of the bound, tie, kill. Like he wanted to torture them or torture, excuse me, not tie, because he tied them up. But you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
he had his MO. So for us to think maybe it would not make much sense unless these killings were supposedly a good bit before he actually had the first BTK killing. It would make
Yeah.
sense that he was finding his way. But I think if these killings were happening after, I find
Yeah.
that very sloppy and messy. And he does not seem like the type that was sloppy or messy in that way.
No, he's definitely he's
Yeah,
the one of the most organized murderers
e-
we've ever covered.
exactly. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I was really intrigued by his decision to sort of return to the spotlight in 2004, and I done
Yeah.
a ton of digging into that because I wanted to understand what his motivation to do it was, and
Yeah.
I've watched so many interviews and read so many articles, and like the thing that makes this really scary is he was planning a comeback tour. Like
Yeah.
he was coming back to killing. He's said that he had a victim picked out. He'd planned it and prepped it. He knew when he was going
Hmm.
to do it, and he just got
Hmm.
caught before it happened. And all of this was revealed in a book that is by Catherine Ramsland, PhD. So she's a
Hmm.
psychiatrist who interviewed Dennis Rader
Yeah.
numerous times to write his story. And the book is Confessions of a Serial Killer: The
Yep.
Untold Story of Dennis Rader, told from his viewpoint. Where are you
Always.
on serial killers writing books to tell their story?
I I think I know why you're asking me this because, if I may say this first, I think you're asking me because you feel as though they have no audacity in this fucking world to be having the privilege of writing their story out, correct? Because
Uh,
it's almost like a slap in the face of like, how dare you get more notoriety? How dare you get more fame off of these victims, because
I
that's what it is people are going to read it, correct?
yeah,
They're going
I
to want to
think
read it.
it's the damage and the hurt that it does to surviving family members. Like
Yeah.
I had someone in my family who was murdered that we've spoken about on
Hmm.
the show before. If that
Hmm.
person wrote a fucking memoir to talk all
You would
about
not be
that,
happy about it.
oh, I would be pissed. I would be like itching for a murder charge myself. Like I would be so angry that you're telling that story from your perspective. Like fuck you, you don't get
I
the opportunity to do that. Like
and
it
I
just
understand
it's
that, and it is subjective though when you think about it, because for you this was very personal for you what happened to you,
yeah,
because it was your father.
yeah.
This is a very personal thing, and I hope that was okay that I said that. I think
Oh, of
everybody
course it is.
knew that
Yeah,
has
yeah,
listened to the show has known what has happened.
yeah,
But my thing is you have this woman who's a psychiatrist or whatever, and it would make sense that she would write the book out of her own notoriety and fame, because that's going to bring her
yeah,
in. This, here we go, right here. She gonna get P Diddy famous, right? Because I mean, people are going to be like, "Holy shit!" They're going to know this person now. He was just
yeah.
a psychiatrist, and PhD or not. I mean, there you go. But I think I understand and totally get what you're saying. Is like, it does seem a little shitty for them to get to tell their story, because guess what? The victims didn't get to tell their story.
No,
The
exactly
victims
that.
have no story except for they are the victims in this sad ass situation. So there's not much. It's hard to look at it and think, okay, but honestly, it's not necessarily that he wrote it,
No,
not to
and
take up for him, because somebody else wrote it for him. But again,
yeah, and not only
it's
that, like
no different than documentaries, Scott. They have all these
it,
documentaries out. It's the same thing with Jeffrey Dahmer.
yeah,
Oh my God, when the Dahmer series came out, bro.
yeah.
The fucking the family, there was some, oh my God, there were some people fucking livid. that were
Yeah,
like trying to sue Netflix. Like they were like trying to sue them because Netflix fabricates, but it's a TV show, so it's dramatized.
yeah, and like I understand, like we spoke about it when we done Dharma. I understand why the
Yeah,
families are upset because I
yeah,
would
yeah.
be so
Oh,
pissed.
I would be. Yes,
But
me too.
I also understand the importance of getting the full story, and sometimes that means getting it from both sides, and sometimes that means telling true crime stories again and again and again
Yeah,
to gain more
yeah,
understanding
yeah,
of it. And to, I'm not being funny, the amount of times that we give PSAs of like, when you're out and about, don't do this, don't do that, like this will open you
yeah.
up to this. And we do it a lot. Like that is the good that comes of talking about true crime. It is
It
understanding what
is
dangers live around you. And I
exactly.
see it from both sides, but yeah, man, I would be so angry.
I mean,
um,
like I said, yours is more personal, and
yeah,
not that any of this is not personal for the people that lost their wife, their sister, mother. It's not that, but I think it just hits a little different in everybody's situation, and
yeah.
so they knew that he was going to do a book because he was going to do a book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like he'd even put in all of his like letters that he sent to the police and dropped on
yeah.
stop
Mhm.
signs that like he was putting like his chapter list and shit out there. Like he had this plan for a long time.
Again, he just wanted to be fucking famous. That's all it is. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
Um we always talk about the victims and their families when we go through
Uh huh.
something like this. It's something tragic happens and it's like it's something we always bring up the victims and their families and how that must affect them. It's
Yeah.
incredibly rare for us to be in a position where the killer is a high functioning member of society with a family that had no idea who he was. Like
Yeah.
I
It's
was
crazy to
so
me.
interested to find out like about them and like
Hmm.
what happened to
Hmm.
them. Like one day it's oh that's my dad. The next day he's in handcuffs on every single news station in the world
And
as a serial killer.
it's hard for me to fathom it because I think about like if you lived with a serial killer. I mean, you didn't know at the time, but would there not be signs? Bitch, I am so fucking nosy and suspicious of everything. I'm gonna tell you right now, if Steven's phone rings sideways, I'm like, the fuck is it? Who is it? But that I know I'm telling you, it's just an innate thing in me that I've always been very like I have like intuition. Like if somebody's vibes off, bitch, get away from me. Like I know. And I that's why I don't like nobody. Because
Yeah, and
people are kind of not trusting.
like, how can you not know? And they didn't know. Like they genuinely
No, they
didn't know.
didn't. Like it
I
was I
yeah,
don't know how he did it. I just-
yeah. You can tell by their reactions that they didn't know. So
no.
to his wife, he was a loving husband. To his kids, he was a dad. And then the next day, he was BTK, family annihilator, sexually driven serial
It's
killer. Like that
insane.
must have fucked with your head. Like if you're married to someone, you've been married to them for 34 years and you
Mm-mm.
wake up one morning and find out they are a serial killer who's killed men, women, and children. Like, how do you even
Man,
process that?
the trust issues, this is the thing. As a people, as a species of people that we all have that innate instinct in us to be protected, to want to protect ourselves, I mean, some people are more trusting than others, and you go, girl or boy, because not this bitch right here. I mean, I trust people, but it takes you a hot minute. You got to warm up on to me first.
Yeah,
Um, because it's just, I've been through stuff in my life and it's turned me into a little bit more of a less trusting person. Um, and stuff like that. But I don't know what I would do if I woke up and Steven was like, I've killed 20 women.
yeah,
Like if we no, like the cops didn't find out yet, but like he's confessing to me and he's like, I wanted to tell you. I'd be like,
yeah.
I
Like,
don't know what I would do, Scott. I do not know.
no, I don't know
I
how
don't
I'd
know.
get my head around it. I think my reaction would probably be the reaction of his wife. So she did not stand by his side. She filed for an emergency divorce that was granted
Yes.
immediately. Like
Oh,
literally, she
100%.
went to the court and went, "Look, I've just found out my husband is BTK.
Juice
Can I have a
it.
divorce?"
She- Bitch,
Uh,
bye.
yeah.
Oh.
Shortly after his conviction, she sold the family home and moved out of the area, stating that it was impossible to lead a normal life, which I can
She
imagine.
did. She did it. She sold it at an auction for $90,000, which I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that would have been a lot of money. The house wasn't very big, but because I kind of thought about that, I was like, damn, that bitch was trying to get out of there. She said, y'all take it for, y'all can take it for some gold coins. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But 90K is relatively inexpensive for a home. So
Yeah.
even then.
And she's disappeared off the face of the earth.
Oh
Her
no,
whereabouts.
I searched,
Yeah.
y'all. I know
So
Scott
did
did because
I.
he nosy like me. He might be more nosy. He searched. I tried to look up a picture, and I thought I found a picture of her, but I wasn't for sure because, like, sometimes on Google it'll be like someone has her similar name or the same
Yeah.
name, and you're like, okay, that wasn't her. And when I went to one article, it bleeped her fucking face out. I
Yeah.
could not, like, it's like censored, and so I was like, she really is Where's Waldo. Like
Yeah.
that, she left. And we
And,
have no idea if she's alive or dead, honestly. We hope
and I'll
she's
be
alive,
honest,
but
I get it. Like, I fully
me
get it.
too.
And his son decided to avoid public eyes as well. We don't
Yeah.
know a huge amount about him, but we
I
do
couldn't
know
find
that
much on him either. Not anything reputable to really bring to the
no,
table because it's
the only
I don't
thing I
know.
could find is that he's never ever discussed his father's crimes, not to anyone. He's like
Well, probably
never.
that's how he copes with it. Like, can you
Yeah,
imagine? Like, that's your dad, and you find out that he's done these things, especially these heinous crimes to children and women. I know that he killed a man too, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know how that would mess with your psyche.
I
It
think
would
it would.
be
And
fucked
like
up.
we know that his son never married and never had children either.
Mm-mm.
And I would say that's a direct connection to the trauma that he suffered. Like that is a
Well,
it could be a like I don't want to be anything like my dad, and that includes having a wife and kids. Like I just want to be left the fuck alone.
but think about it. He has the same last name, obviously, as his dad. So, like, when you
Yeah.
go to meet a lady folk, and if she finds out, and being that his son's not, they're not very old, but I'm just saying, like, wouldn't that make it harder to date? That'd make it a little harder to get in there because you have to think about it. They'll be like, you're the son of a serial killer.
Well, the thing is, like,
That
you're going to
stuff
be,
can be genetic. There are
yeah.
genetic factors that play into that. Not saying his look, we don't know anything really about his son, and I would say that his son would most likely not be like his father. His father was more than just a little fucked up. He was fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's just a sad thing that his son had to live like that, and I don't know. It's just that's fucked up to me that his son couldn't enjoy his life.
Yeah, and I find it sad as well. You think like when you are dating and when you are seeing someone that you
Yeah,
get the point where someone goes, "So, tell me about your family." Like,
yeah.
does he follow that straight away with, "Yeah, my dad was BTK." Like,
Or he's
there's
like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me get the remote. We'll go to YouTube. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, like, what do you do? Because there's every documentary known to man about him.
it, exactly that.
I
Um,
don't know.
Dennis's daughter Kerry is a completely different story to her mum and her
Oh
brother.
yeah.
She embraced the public eye and is
Oh
well
no.
respected within the true crime world. Very well respected. She
Yeah.
released a book, A Serial Killer Daughter, My Story of Faith, Love, and Overcoming, where she told everything from her perspective of what she knew, which wasn't a lot, and
It was yeah.
how she reacted afterwards. She said that she forgives her father, and she does
Mm,
still communicate with him in prison. And she
yeah.
says that for her, she said, like, she's not communicating with the serial killer BTK. She's communicating with the dad
With her
that she lived
dad.
with and loved for 26 years. And I
But like
get that.
he
I mean,
was BTK. He still
yeah,
this is my thing. I understand that she's saying, "Oh, well that wasn't who he was." But that was who Dennis Rader was.
yeah,
I don't think it was a double life. I think it was only a double life for the sake of the family. Maybe that was his only fucking heart he had
yeah,
because
because he
he was BTK. He is BTK. And guess what? You're not talking to your fucking father because your father wasn't normal.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Hey, I'm just saying, when you do heinous shit like that, that's you. That's you. That's not, oh, I'm a family man in the day. This isn't a fucking movie. This is real life.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's down to her whether she forgives him or not. And I
That's on her.
understand that. And I
Whatever.
understand, like, she's talking to, for her, it's talking to her dad. Like, I get all of that. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought I wouldn't be that forgiving. I'd be like, no, fuck
I
you,
don't
mate."
think I could, honestly.
No.
I'm not. A bad thing about me is that I'm not a super forgiving person anyways. I think it is more on conviction than it is because I don't have an ego, or it's not that. It's more of a, if you do me wrong,
Oh, you're done for
and
me.
you know,
That's it.
basically, yeah, if you do me wrong and you act like the victim, bitch, fuck you. Like, I ain't got time for that. I ain't talked to my brother in over a year now, still, Scott, because him and his wife want to play some patty cake fucking bullshit with me. Bitch, I ain't apologizing because they did me wrong. And you know what
Yeah.
I say?
Uh,
Toxic is toxic, people. I want to throw this PSA out here real quick. Sorry. But even
no,
if
you're
it's your
fine.
family, even if it's your family, do not let anybody treat you like shit. I don't give a fuck, because toxic is toxic. It could be your mama, it could be your dad, it could be your brother. But if they do you wrong and they disrespect your boundaries, I've talked to several people. You can cut family off. I'm not
Yeah.
saying to do that, but I've had to. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm the same as you. I'm very much like, sorry, you done what now? And you said what now? Well, it was nice knowing you. You have a nice life. And I am very much like, see ya. And I just get on with my life and don't give them another thought after
I
that.
mean, you just can't do that. I mean, because there ain't no blood thicker than water bullshit. Y'all can take that quote and stick it up your ass.
Yeah.
This is my thing. If you do me wrong, you do me wrong. And when you have no remorse for it and you don't take responsibility to even just be an adult, I don't got time for that.
No.
Bye.
I
Anyways,
don't either.
no.
Kerry is now a public speaker, and she's
Yeah.
a victims advocate. In late 2023, she took a position as a freelance investigator working with police to assess cold cases that could be linked to her father. Now, I
Hmm.
have to say, like, I find that strange, and I think that it takes an incredible strength of character to look through case files that could potentially be linked to your dad and sit there and
Yeah.
go,
And
yes,
read the
that fits his.
details of
Yeah,
everything.
I've got nothing but like respect for her having the balls to do that, because like just to be involved and be out in the world, like that is a real ballsy thing to do. As the daughter of BTK, I would be the most hidden recluse person. I'd be like the mum and the
100%.
brother.
How many true crime cases do we do where if the serial killer has children, we don't talk about their children, because guess what? Most of the time we don't even know their fucking name, because
No,
they're not like Ted Bundy's daughter. No one knows. No, I think we had a name. I think we get her name, but we don't know what. Why
no,
would you want anybody to know that your dad was Ted Bundy? I get it. Like, she probably changed her name, probably changed her identity, could live in another country. And we have, that's the thing. You have this, you know, BTK's daughter basically, I guess she was trying to take some good out of a horrid
yeah,
situation.
yeah. I think that's
And
what
to
she's
me,
tried
that
to do.
still takes a lot of balls,
Oh
because
yeah,
I could not, I don't know. Again, I don't know how I would actually react in real life. I know what I could do, which would be fucking nuts, but like, I don't know what I would do. And yeah, I guess I commend her to some degree that she's
yeah.
trying to do something, but I hope she does realize that her father is extremely guilty. That's why I'm glad the story didn't go like, oh, he didn't do it. Oh, I would have lost my
Oh
fucking
no,
shit on the show.
she's fully in that he done it. She's fully convinced he
Yeah.
done it more than he's been caught for, and she's now trying to help. It's almost
Well,
like she's
that's
trying to.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really good, and she does like conventions. She goes to true crime conventions, horror
Yeah.
conventions, and she'll be keynote speaker, and she'll
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
people, and like she
That
signs
would
her
be
books.
interesting to
But
hear, actually.
yeah,
I've
like
never been to a true crime convention. I've been to a horror convention, but never. I know they have them, but shit, I don't really know anything about them. But that would, if you think about it, it'd be like, be pretty cool. Not cool in the essence, but cool to like you're listening to a serial killer's like their daughter, and you're like, wow, this is fucking insane. I don't know. I
Yeah.
find it interesting. So
Yeah, it definitely interested me, and, like, when I read about her and I found her Instagram page and then I found her TikTok and I went down,
mhm.
like, a little rabbit hole into her life, and, like,
Yeah,
you listen to her talk and listen to the things that she says, she's not stupid. She's fully aware of
yeah.
what her dad done, and she's very much like, "Yeah, he done this, it was bad. He's still my dad, though, so he's still my dad, but I know what he's done is shit, and also, I know he's probably done it more, and I'm trying to help find other
And she's
people that
trying
he's
to
done it."
break cases, cold
Yeah,
cases, I think.
like,
Yeah.
fair play to her, like, I'm really impressed with her. Um,
Yeah.
if you wanna know more about this case,
Mhm.
there is a ton of stuff. There is
There's too many.
yeah, there's 2 books for a start. There's the one that was written
Mhm.
vicariously by Dennis Rader through his psychiatrist. There's
Mhm.
the one written by his daughter. There are movies, TV series, documentaries, and loads. There's 2 that I wanna highlight because I thought they were really good. The first is BTK, A Killer Among Us, which is a
Mhm.
documentary that was nominated for an award for its quality of investigation. That
Yeah.
is so detailed and it's really,
Mhm.
really good.
Mhm.
And the other is 2008 movie, BTK, starring Kane Hodder.
Which I did not care for. I know that you put it I know that you said it's pretty good, but I think what it is for me with Kane Hodder, and as I've met him a handful of times, I mean, he got that look. He's a way big dude, though. I don't think he was Dennis Rader was as big as he's
No.
just fucking Jason, okay?
Yeah.
He's Jason and fucking Hatchet, okay? Victor Crowley. Like that's all I know. And like he even did Ed Gein too, I believe. He was in a
Yeah, he
movie
did.
where he does all these, but his emotional work in films is a little different for me when you see him acting like an actor acts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because in
Oh, yeah,
Friday the
yeah.
13th, he doesn't talk. He's just a big, brooding serial killer guy. So
Yeah.
it's
But yeah,
weird. It's not my
I like
fave.
that. Is there any
Yeah.
that you would
Other
recommend?
than the ones that you brought on, there was one called "I Survived the BTK," and it focuses on Charlie Otero. So he was the son, the one that had gone to school that day. He was the eldest who
Yeah.
found his family. And that one's actually really good. It's really sad because I mean, he came home to his whole family murdered. And then we have BTK Confession of a Serial Killer, and it's like a mini series. And there are a slew of them, guys. Google. That's what me and Scott usually do. If you get on Google, put in BTK movies, BTK documentaries. If you go to YouTube, Jesus Take the Wheel, you will find so many clips and pieces of everything. So if you want to watch some of the court stuff, if you want to watch just confession, if you want to watch the made like kind of the I say made for TV movies, I think there's more than one with Kane Hodder. I mean more than just the one with Kane Hodder. I am sure there has to be
No,
something
there's
else.
loads. There is literally
But
loads.
again, there's so much media on him that you guys don't have to do but a quick do, and there you go. We give you our kind of our top ones that are like most. These are the better ones to go out and watch.
Yeah,
But
and
if you just want to watch whatever, fucking any true crime series that involves serial killers, BTK gonna make that basket. He's in those eggs. He's gonna
yeah,
make it every time.
he is. Like, type BTK into YouTube and you're gonna get, like, a billion
Oh,
results.
I'm
Like,
telling you, it's ridiculous. He fits in right with Dahmer. So, like when you watch one of those true crime shows, and it can be something very generic called 21st Century Killer or something like that, you're going
yeah,
to get BTK, you're going to get
yeah,
Dahmer, you're going to get Bundy.
yeah,
Head on immediately, those three are like fucking sister wives or
yeah,
something. Every time you watch a documentary, almost you're going to get those three. So, again, guys, do your own research too. I always advocate doing your own research. Don't go with, I mean, me and Scott do what we can and we try to give you as much information and be as informative. And sometimes we might miss out. So, of course, if you're real into serial killing and true crime, do your digging because you'll probably find more shit than we do.
yeah. Um, this case honestly blew me away, and it blew
Yeah.
me away because it's completely changed my perception of what a serial killer can be. So
Mhm.
Dennis Rader is arguably one of the most horrific killers in history.
Yeah.
And somehow, in amongst that, he was a family man who showed love and compassion for his
Mhm.
wife, his children, and his friends.
Yeah.
And this case really made me look at serial killers differently. And the
Mhm.
phrase "never judge a book by its cover" has never been more true in this case. Like his ability to compartmentalize everything
Yeah.
to the extremes that he did, to the extent that he would go out, he would kill someone, brutally murder an entire family, go home, kiss his wife on the cheek, sit down and have dinner, and then go watch TV with his kids. Like
It's
to be,
just you
it just blows my mind that that
it
is a thing.
yeah.
It was rough for me to investigate this because of the things he'd
Mhm.
done, but I
Yeah.
found it really rewarding and really interesting. And I'm actually going to do something I've never done. I thank everyone who voted this on because when it came on, I
Yeah.
literally went, I messaged you as soon as the poll was over, and I just put, "We've got BTK," and then had like an emoji, just like going, "Oh!" But
Yeah. Because
this,
I know how you are with certain like when we get certain people and I think you feel this way when we go through each one, but if we get Fred and Rosemary West, you're going to lose your shit cuz they're even worse, Scott. It's just that they're not as famous, quote unquote. And they're also in the UK. And so
yeah,
that's on your side of the pond, not your side of the pond, but in your neck of the woods. But
yeah, and that's a
it's
case I
fucked
actually
up.
know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually
well, I
know
knew
that
you knew
case.
that because you probably would have had more of a firsthand like hearing about it, obviously, versus
Yeah,
us in the United States.
it
But
was in the news when I remember it. Like
yes,
it's fairly fresh.
it's
Well, we'll
fucked up. We're gonna get it. We're
we'll, we'll
gonna do it.
we'll sling it in the next poll. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe next time we'll be back with Fred and Rose West.
fucked up, y'all. But anyways, I mean, I'm just saying, like each case is always brings a new set of what the fucks for you
Yeah,
because you're always like, how can it get any worse? But it does get worse than Dennis Rader. That's the thing.
yeah.
It does
I
on a different level.
yeah. I think Dennis Rader. I just find I find him very interesting. He's an interesting person because of his
Yeah.
ability to section everything off and lead these two very separate lives. And
Well,
like
yeah.
trying to wrap my head around like in 2004, we went, do you know what? I'm just going to fuck with the police today. Like my
No.
mind is going, but why? Like, what triggered you to do that? Because everything has a trigger. And I
Yeah,
desperately
100%.
want to know what that trigger is. And I dug so deep to try and find it, like just an interview snippet where he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw someone else mention this serial killer," and I was like,
Mm-mm.
"Fuck you!" But there's nothing. It's just like one day he got up and went,
No, he's
I'm gonna write a
it's
letter today."
very it's very rare that I think we go through all these serial killers and each one we say our opinions or we say how we feel and we spew the facts as much as we can. And it's really like each one is so crazy. And I'm saying that loosely because that's not really a PC term, I guess, really, when you say crazy, but like they are crazy.
Yeah,
But BTK is the true definition of a sociopath. There's not too many of them that you'll get that will actually be like being like a true sociopath. I'm not talking about having narcissistic qualities. I'm not talking about having sociopathic tendencies. I'm talking about actual true sociopath. That is why he could live two lives
yeah,
because it's just like with any other mental health thing. Someone being bipolar. That's not very common. It's not a super multiple personalities. That's been debunked several times because a lot of people are in that field in the psychology field believe that uh no, it always ends up being some kind of a hoax. Can you hear voices? Of course you can. Of course that can happen to someone mentally ill. Yes, that's not what I'm saying. But if you've seen the movie Split, it's not like that.
no,
Okay.
it's not.
Nobody's James McAvoy. I'll be with James McAvoy because You see that new movie he's got coming out?
Yeah, Speak No
Speak
Evil.
No Evil. I'm already pregnant. I need to stop. But
You
anyway,
do.
I'd have his baby. I love him in it. I love him. I want to see that movie. Me and Jay been talking about that. So he told me to watch it. I said, well, I don't go to the cinema here because I don't want to kill anybody because fucking teenagers. So I have to wait for it to stream one day when it comes out. But
Yeah,
he
it
said he
won't be
loved
long.
it. So that's all I know.
Couple of months that'll be streaming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I don't think I've got anything else to say about Dennis Rader. Do you?
No, he's gonna die soon. That's the only thing I'm gonna say because he's 84. But I also kind of feel like low key Scott, he might live to be 100 because he's that fucking evil.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Like
agree.
that's me. I don't have anything else to say about him. When we get new stuff, I think that we'll discuss this off camera. So I won't say what I was gonna say. Y'all bet y'all thought y'all were gonna get something, but you're fucking not. But anyway, I'll tell you off camera. But yeah, I just don't have anything else to say about him right now. He's in jail. I just want to give a big, obviously any rest in peace to all the victims because it was a horrible crime and he's a bad guy and fuck him. Literally,
Yeah.
that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, on the back of that, fuck him. Do you want to sign us off?
Let me sign us off. Okay, guys. So we're really excited that you're listening to part 2. Definitely make sure that if you skipped part 1, get your ass back on there. Go through part 1. Then you get to part 2. But as always, we love all of you guys. We love the support we get. The true crime community and horror community is the absolute tits. And so I want to leave this show with a little PSA. Don't let the family you came from ruin the family that you have. That's my PSA for you guys. And until next time, stay safe, stay spooky, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Heather's raging, old news she screams. The newer cases are all that she dreams. We dive into cases both weird and grim, from Zodiac ciphers to Tiger King's whim. Where you run podcast, the oddball pair. We're pretty damn good to be fair. You run podcast, do true crime. Heather's ranting, skirts in denial. From Manson's madness to Tupac's case, we're serving up crime with a comical grace. We're digging up dirt with a weekend and nod. You run podcast, approved by God. Probably not. Scott's like, can we talk about movies? Heather's yelling, no, it's time to do this. We're trapped in a world of murder and gore, but hey, at least we've got podcast galore. Toolbox killers are chilling affair, but we're adding our humor to ease up. You run podcast, do true crime. Heather's ranting, Scott's in denial. From Manson's madness to Tupac's case, we're serving up crime with a comical grace. We're digging up dirt with a wink and a nod. You run podcast approved by God. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Scott's like, can we talk about movies? Heather's yelling, no, it's time to do this. We're trapped in a world of murder and gore, but hey, at least we've got podcast galore. Toolbox killers are chilling affair, but we're adding our humor to ease up. You